Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Nailed It Motherhood podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge, and I'm so glad you are here. If this is your first time visiting, you should know that this is the space where we keep it real, raw, and relatable about all things motherhood. If anything in today's conversation resonates with you, please be sure to like, share, and drop a good comment, because your support helps more mamas find this space and feel seen. You can also support us with some coins at the description links, Buy Me a Coffee, and Buzzsprout link. Every bit of support helps keep those stories alive and thriving. Now, enough about me and the logistics. Our guest mama today has a recipe all about the power of perseverance and purpose. She became a mom at just 18 years old, faced some serious life challenges along the way, and now she's standing in the same shoes she once feared, confident, joyful, and inspiring other moms to rise through it all. She's not only a proud mama of a 17-year-old son, the same age she was when she had him, but she's also a bonus mom, a podcast host, and the force behind the collaborative book series Moments for Moms, giving other mothers the chance to share their stories too. Woo woo. Listeners, please welcome to the show Juanita Woodson. Hey, boo.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so used to being the person that's doing the interviewing. So to sit on the opposite side, it's just like, oh, the nerves, but I'm good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me into your space.
Thank you for joining us in our space. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say today, because you just have a level of expertise that I don't quite have yet, because I only have a 5-year-old, and you have the ear of other mothers. So I'm very excited to hear what it is that you get to talk to other parents about. And I too understand being on the other side of the interview, and having the nerves, but I know you got this. This is what you do, and you're going to be the bomb. So I'm excited that you're here, and I can't wait to hear your parenting journey later. I would be remiss if I didn't mention a special skill that you bring to our show today, that you are the host of a newly rebranded Hope at the End of the Tunnel podcast. And I want to know, I know you might bring it up a little bit in your personal parenting journey, but could you just share a little bit more about what that podcast is, where it started, and how it got there?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a co-host of Hope at the End of the Tunnel podcast. So I share this podcast with Joy West Phalo. So together, like you, we bring on moms to learn a little bit more about their journey, to just remind women, to remind mothers that there is that hope at the end of the tunnel, right? Both of us being teen moms ourselves, as we've now grown, we have our own families, bonus now husbands. So it's now just been a reminder that we need to give back and remind people that no matter what you go through, there is that light at the end of the tunnel. So that's what our podcast is all about, just being that reminder to keep going, keep showing up in motherhood and in life.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that I'm going to remember the hope at the end of the tunnel once I share my Tommy tale with the listeners today, because Juanita, girlfriend, I've been stressing with my baby, okay? So we're going to jump into the Tommy tale, but I'm going to hold on to the hope at the end of the tunnel.
Hold on to it.
So I'm holding on. So today's Tommy tale is called You Need to Cut It. Can you guess what it might be about?
Ooh, I'm hoping it's not something to do with cutting your hair.
Well, your hope is off. Yes, it is about cutting hair. I think that my child has an obsession with scissors. And I'm, this is let me start by saying when she was about 1.5, she cut her hair for the first time. Um, that was my fault. I thought she wasn't looking when I put the scissors on the windowsill and closed up the windowsill. She got she got that moment where she was by herself for 30 seconds and then she cut her hair like right here on the side. It was a big old chunk of it. Okay, 1.5. I took the blame for that. Then she did it again when she was about 4, maybe. I want to say it was 4. She did it again, 3, 4, because I know it was the holiday season. I remember exactly the guest that I was interviewing on Nailed It Motherhood. I was broken, and she tried to encourage me, and she reminded me that it happens to all the parents. People, kids cut their hair, especially little girls. And I said, okay, we've had this conversation about how you should and should not use scissors. We are gonna get past this.
Okay.
But she did it again recently.
Oh,
She did it again recently. And at this point, we had already reestablished trust with scissors. You know, you use scissors to cut paper. She's obsessed with cutting cardboard because she thinks that she's always got a project she has to do. So she just likes cutting. She just likes snipping things into little pieces of paper. And she cut her hair again recently. And I was just, I was at that point where, you know, when you get so angry that you don't have anything else to say, you just go through the motions. I snatched those scissors up again. But this time, I'm going to tell you how I found out. We're in the bathroom getting ready in the morning. We're rushing. I'm running late. I'm like, Tavia, you need to brush your teeth. I'm going to do your hair. And I start to pull the ponytail out to redo it, to, you know, put the water on the brush, gel her hair up. And I saw a little bit of hair come out. And I'm like, what happened? Like, I thought maybe I tied the ponytail holder too tight. No, I opened up the ponytail holder, got it loose, pulled it off, and a whole chunk of hair came out. I looked at her and I said, you cut your hair. And she told me, no, no, I didn't cut my hair. She was very, very, very firm in her lie. Very firm in her lie. Continued to brush her teeth. And I was like, I know she's lying. It's obvious that she's lying. She's got a patch missing again. And, you know, at this point, I wasn't even dwelling on the cutting. I was dwelling on the lying.
yeah.
So we had the conversation, you know, there's not going to be any TV when you get home today. You have to stop lying, blah, blah, blah. A couple days later, she had gymnastics. I pick her up from daycare, rushing her to get to the bathroom and change. And then she comes to me and she says, Mommy, my leotard is ripped. I looked at the leotard and it was a sharp rip. I said, this is not ripped. You cut this. She found the scissors that I hid and she cut the sister. My girl is obsessed. She
No.
is obsessed with the scissors, and I don't know what to do. I did some research. I think it's a sensory thing, and I just don't know what to do other than share my story and ask the listeners to support this mama because I'm trying to grow this girl's hair, and every time we make some progress, she cuts more of it off. And she's gonna hate it when I play this episode because she's gonna be mad that I shared this story. But somebody got to hear the story. So thank you, Juanita, for listening to my Tavi tale again. You need to cut it.
Well, the good thing is that she is safe, right? Because we do know that it can be dangerous. So
Mhm.
if she's exploring, like kids they'll do things even worse than cutting their hair. So I know it's not
Yeah.
to hear, mom, but there is hope at the end of that tunnel. I think you gotta let her go through this phase, and like you said, maybe it's a sensory thing. So find out like, okay, why is she so connected to the scissors? Maybe
Hmm.
get some not so sharp scissors. I don't know. My mom is a teacher. She's a principal now, actually. So I remember when she used to do daycare, she always had like these fancy type of scissors, but they used to cut like different shapes, but they weren't that sharp. They only worked.
Hmm.
So I don't that
On paper.
try.
Now, the scissors that she's using, they are the kid safety scissors.
I'm sure.
So, but they are still, I mean, it's not the kind that I think you're describing. Now, I know that there are some that like have like the jagged edges and the curve. Those are more like real safety scissors that only cut the shape that you want them. And I think the kids safety scissors are a little bit sharper than that. But my girl, she will figure it out however she
Yeah.
can.
You
I promise you.
strong-willed. It sounds like she's very strong-willed.
She's so strong. But again, thank you for listening. Um, you say there's hope at the end of the tunnel, and I'm gonna lean on that. I'm looking for you, hope. I'm looking. But enough about me and my baby and our scissors. We are going to jump into your personal parenting journey and hear a little bit of your herstory segment. And listeners, I do want to just remind you that Juanita is living proof that it gets greater later, ironically. So get cozy and let's get into this powerful episode as I turn over the mic and let Juanita Woodson share her personal story.
Well, hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. I feel relaxed. I feel ready to share a little bit about who I am. My son is now 17. It's really crazy to say. So I think I'll start there. I'll start with being in this weird space because we grew up together, right? So I was actually 17 when I got pregnant, and then I turned 18, and then I had him. So fresh out of high school, and then now with the baby. So of course I'm like, what is it that I'm going to do? I now have not just myself to try to figure things out for, but I now also have this little boy, right? And man, did we go through some things. So becoming a mom right out of high school, it was definitely a journey. So I've gone through single motherhood, co-parenting, parenting through domestic violence, and so much more. I feel like I failed and I've succeeded. But one thing today I was really reminded of, we were at church today, and I got to see my son really engaged in worshiping, and praising and worshiping. And for me, it was just a reminder that I've done okay, right? Because our foundation is in Christ, but not just my foundation, but his as well. So no matter what we face, he has his foundation in Christ. So now fast forward, I am 35. I'll be 36 in September. I'm married, I have a bonus daughter, and then my son has just started his senior year of high school, which is once again crazy to say. And he's going to be going off, starting his own journey on his own pretty soon. So that's in a nutshell my motherhood journey. So in motherhood, I've written a book, I've been an entrepreneur, and now I guess I want to say in like the later stages of motherhood, I'm now like helping other women, right? Helping other mothers to kind of tell their story through motherhood and give others inspiration and hope as they go through their own journeys of motherhood.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Juanita. Um, what would you say is your favorite part about being able to elevate other people's stories? And I'm asking because, this is what my podcast is all about. And it's awesome that we can, have this little platform where we get to talk to each other about what we're doing to highlight the powerful women that we come in contact with. And I also think that it's amazing because no matter how many people I've talked to, you've talked to how many other people and how many of them have collided, maybe none. That's how many powerful moms are out there and how many powerful stories are out there. So, what is your favorite part about being able to engage with other parenting stories?
I think just being able to build community around it, right? So many moms, and I don't want to say that this was my journey in motherhood every single year, but there were some seasons where I felt maybe alone. Maybe I isolated myself because I didn't really want people to know the things that I was struggling with. So I isolated. So now I'm being able to kind of give back. I think being able to give other women an opportunity to share their stories, it gives that hope, but it builds a sense of community. People feel like they can finally let their shoulders down in a way and express maybe some of the things that they've held in. You have like-minded moms, maybe those stories where like sharing about your baby girl cutting her hair. There are some emotions, some feelings that maybe only moms can understand and we can relate to. So I think that's like one of the things about it, just building that sense of community around it.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me more about the partnership with your co-host. How did you all get together and say, let's do this? And then what were the steps that you took to make it happen? What were the bumps along the way that you hit? And what were some of the highs that you were like, no, we have to keep going. We have to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started, well, I guess the way that we met, so we connected on social media. She actually joined a webinar. I was a speaker for one of the webinars, and then our stories were so similar. She's a teen mom. Her dad is a pastor, same as mine. So teen mom, PK. So our stories were really similar. We hit it off, and we just knew that there was something there. This word, well, it started as what did the name? We rebranded to Hope at the End of the Tunnel. So now I'm just like, what did the name start as? But our target audience, we were speaking to teen mothers, right? We wanted to talk to teen moms. But as time went on, I just realized like teen moms aren't listening to it. We had mothers of like in the old like older women that were listening to it, and they were getting encouraged. And I think for both of us, it just clicked like we can still give back to teen moms by showing them that there is that hope at the end of the tunnel, so we can share those stories as you start to get older, the things that you go through. So that's what we rebranded to Hope at the End of the Tunnel. So I think like the bump in the road was just realizing where you need to stop and kind of pivot and reach the audience that's actually tuning in and listening. So since we've done that, I think we've both been able to really let our shoulders down. The guests that we have on comfortable, the conversation, it moves in the direction that it needs to move into.
Awesome. So I hear that you have a spiritual background. You know, there's 2 parts to this question. So you being a PK, you grew up in the church, but now you have, like, regrounded yourself and are very excited to be able to share worship with your now 17-year-old. So the first part of the question, and I'm gonna ask them both now so I don't forget because I'm really good for that. So the first part of the question is, as a PK, having fallen into being a teen mom, was there a sense of disappointment feeling like you fell into the stigma of the PK kid, the pastor's kid? Because I know I grew up in the church. I wasn't the pastor's kid. I was the evangelist child. But I know that there was that, the stigma on the PK and they bad and they fast and they da 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 da. So that's question number one. Did you feel some type of disappointment having been being a teen mom, that you fell into the stigma? And then the second question, see, I'm already starting to forget. No, okay. So the second question was, is your podcast currently grounded in a strong sense of spirituality? Because I'm hearing a lot of that coming out as you're speaking. Like, is God the center of your podcast?
Yeah, so let me answer the second question first because
Mhm.
that's the one that's clicking. So yes, I mean it's the foundation of all the things that I do, right? I think that it's the reason that I'm able to live, breathe, and have my being, right? I think
Yes.
just being able to kind of pivot through life the way that I have as a teen mom, my faith, right? Even though I made a mistake, faith is still my foundation, right?
Yes.
Able to kind of pivot through that. So yes, disappointment was there. I know I disappointed my parents. I tell this story. I told it on our podcast. So when my dad found out that I was pregnant, we took a long drive and he was going to actually drop me off at the women's detention center because of just like what did I do wrong? You want to be grown? Da 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 da. But of course he could. And it's just so crazy that the grandkids, they're so spoiled. Like,
Mhm.
So yes, there was the sense of disappointment, but one thing, and my parents say now, just how my tenacity, my resilience has actually inspired them. And even though I had my son at a young age, it made me grow up, right? They weren't the parents that were just like, we'll take care of the baby. You go do. No, I had to figure it out. Um, they didn't let me fall or stumble, but I had to figure it out. I had to grow up. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it. I believe it. You're reminding me of a story. So my mom is no longer with us. She passed when I was in college. But I have three sisters. And there was a season where I had a relationship. It was a very serious relationship. And we weren't having sex, but we were messing around.
Okay.
And then my younger sister, she's gonna kill me when I share this story. But my younger sister was exploring too.
Okay.
And there was a period where like we got caught, and it was within the same weekend. It was in the same week. The ride home was the absolute worst. It was 4 of us, so all 4 of us were in the car, and my mom was practically cussing us out without cussing us out, but she basically was like, "What? I'm raising little hoes, all y'all." And I will never forget how quiet the ride was, and she was so disappointed in all of us because we were just being fresh, but we were just doing what everybody else was doing.
Imagine.
We can't do what everybody else is doing because we are called differently.
You are called differently. And I think when I like think back now as I'm older, um, and my son is now 17, I think that a little bit of the disappointment was maybe they blamed themselves, like, what did I do wrong? And it's just like there's nothing as parents that you did wrong.
Yeah.
Couldn't have paid more attention. You couldn't have done anything different. You couldn't have provided anything more. I think that sometimes our wrong decisions are just the journeys that we have to go on. And I look at it like if I hadn't have had my son when I did, who knows where I would be.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
you have to find that light at the end of the tunnel in all things really.
Yes. I think that this is your life's calling, hope at the end of the tunnel at this point.
Seems like
It truly is. Awesome. Well, tell me about your son's relationship with God. Like, I just think that that's awesome that at 17 years old, he is choosing to engage. Because when I was 17 years old, although I knew I wanted to be saved, I also knew that I didn't want to have to worship if because the youth pastor told me to stand up and lift my hands. So and there was that rebellion in me that was beating my relationship with Christ. So that is so exciting to hear that a 17-year-old is truly authentically worshiping Christ. Can you tell me when he decided that he wanted to walk with God on his own and kind of like how what the conversation was like for you trying to introduce him to Jesus and et cetera, et cetera. Let's share about that because I know that's an exciting journey.
yeah. So as I mentioned, so I'm a PK, right? So my son has been in church since he was born. Essentially, he was playing on the drums. He taught himself how to play drums. There's like this video on YouTube. My mom recorded him one time. I don't know how many views it had, but he was preaching. So he's always just like he was mimicking my dad when he was preaching. So he's always had like this connection to church. And so I'm living in Georgia now. So we were living in Virginia. I was involved in church. I was singing on the praise team. So he's always had that connection, right? And then when I was working on Sundays, he would go to church with his grandmother. So just making sure that no matter what, like you keep yourself rooted. We've been in Georgia for, I want to say 4 years. And if I can be honest, I probably haven't been as diligent about him going to church. Just because, it just felt different than going where you were familiar, if that makes sense. I didn't push as much to wake up. It's time to go to church on Sunday. So when he asked, he led the conversation that he wanted to go to church, and so that's when I knew, like, okay. Or when he passes me the aux and he wants to listen to the gospel music, like, okay. And then just not seeing him, if the pastor says stand up, or the pastor says something that he felt he stands up, I might still be sitting down. So just being able to see, like, okay, you're paying attention, you're taking notes, like that, it's awesome to see. Because like you, when I was 17, I didn't. I could have been somewhere else. So yeah.
Yup. That's a beautiful story. It is awesome to see that our kids leading us
Yeah,
and reminding us whose we are.
absolutely.
Um, like I said, I have a 5-year-old and I have not been huge on the church since she's been born. Like I'll go, but because I also was on the praise team, I led the praise team for a very long time and they stressed me out. I was a youth leader. I was on the dance team. I was teaching Bible Institute. There was a period where I was very upset with God because of all this serving that I've been doing for him and then the way that I was treated. So there was some church hurt involved. We're not going to go there. But I have not been as diligent as making sure she's at the church. I'm very, very, very adamant about making sure she knows who God is while I'm worshiping and just reminding her God wouldn't like that and things like that. So when I see her really wanting to worship and when she reminds me that she wants to listen to this song or that God wouldn't be happy, it's amazing to see that, she's figuring this out for herself. She
Absolutely.
is understanding who God is for herself, and I love that. And I believe that it kind of is a reminder to me that
Yeah,
I need to continue to look up whenever it comes to raising her. So I say she saved me because she really did. She really saved me. She came at the end of that dark period. And if I didn't have her, I don't know that I'd be here today or that I would be doing well today. So I love that she is that reminder for me.
yeah.
Um, Tell us about Moments for Moms. In your application, you said that your organization is Moments for Moms,
Yes.
Legacy Unlocked, and that you have a series. I would love to learn a little bit more about that than what we shared in your bio.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do I start? Okay, so I have a publishing company, Grace for Purpose Publishing Co. So I wrote my first book back in 2017. It kind of was about my journey into motherhood, my journey to it's called Don't Go That Way, Protect Your Purpose. So kind of get an idea there, right? So writing that book, it kind of led me to helping other people to write their books. So in 20, when did our first series came out? I want to say 2021. So we're now working on volume 4. And this is kind of where the Moments for Moms Legacy Unlock community started. It started with our book series. So getting together some women who have been thinking about writing their book or maybe have written a book but want to write again. So instead of trying to figure out writing a whole book, put your story into one series, and then you just build community around that. And man, when I say that it has grown, it has really grown. It's flourished. I think that so many women are now just being encouraged by the community, but also being able to create another source of income through it, right? Because we don't just write the book, we're teaching you how to market the book. So, as mothers, we are typically the ones that are running the household budget, right? So why not have an additional stream of income to add to the household budget? So I think just more than anything, this community, the book turned into more than what I probably anticipated. It definitely did. We had our first conference back in March in Atlanta, and man, like God really blew my mind with that, bigger than what I anticipated it even being. And just we I had one lady that was there, and she said when she was growing up, she never had sisters. And this is what she needed because she feels like she's found sisterhood. And so that's what this is all about. Like that's what Moments for Moms is about.
That's awesome. How can someone join and be a part? Like, is it a virtual platform that you serve people on, or is it strictly in Atlanta? Are you planning on doing little satellite locations? Tell us about how people can join, because actually, I might be interested in this. You never know.
Absolutely. So we do have our author call going for Moments for Moms Volume 4. The subtitle for that one is Inspiration and Wisdom for Every Season of Motherhood. So there's an investment to join the book project. We also are launching the magazine in September, and it's the Legacy Unlocked magazine. So just another way for moms to have an opportunity to share their stories and generate an additional stream of income. You can follow on social media. I mean, we're on Facebook, we are on Instagram as well. So if you join, if you're a part of the book or a part of the magazine, we do have like our private community where we're encouraging each other, all those things. So we're going to be kicking off our first virtual meetup. We're going to have that and we'll have some speakers. So we haven't launched yet into having like the in-person small groups, but that is definitely coming soon. We'll be doing those. So the states that have like the majority of our moms, we'll start them there and then just kind of build on that. But definitely like just looking forward to seeing how the community continues to grow over time.
Awesome. I'm excited to look into that and hear more about that.
Yes.
Yeah, just let me know if you need me to push it on Nailed It Motherhood podcast.
Yeah.
Sounds like something that we would absolutely support.
Well,
I don't think I have any more questions for you. You have shared a very succinct story with a lot of awesome outcomes that you are currently working on and just seeing rise up like the worshiper in your son. So I thank you for coming and joining us and sharing your personal parenting journey with us, from teen mom to taking over, and we love it. But we are going to move into our game time and we're going to play tea time if that's okay with you.
yes, I love that.
Awesome. I'm going to find the clock and pull it up so that you can see the time. So you know I'm not cheating you. And then I will pull our bucket of questions. While I'm doing that, I just want to remind listeners that tea time is a game of rapid fire. Juanita has 3 minutes to answer as many questions as she can. She was not prepped. She does not get questions beforehand, but I've got my bucket of questions. She can answer as many questions as she can in 3 minutes. And we are just going to get a little bit more insight into who she is. So that is the game. Miss Juanita, are you ready?
I hope so. Yes, I'm going to try to be.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'm ready. Listeners, are y'all ready? Yes. Wonderful. Here we go. First question. Let me actually hit play. Which emoji do you use the most?
I use the two eyes.
I'm cracking up at how you just showed us. What pet peeve will you never get over?
Pet peeve will I never get over. A lack of common sense.
Yes, girl. Yes. What is your go-to comfort food?
Fries, French fries.
Okay. This question was the last TV show or movie you binge watched?
The Foreigner. That's a movie.
Got you, got you. I have not seen that one, so that's one for four. Okay. Morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning person
Why did you laugh?
because I woke up. So I have this thing where if you say you're not a morning person, I'm like you could not be alive. So I'm a morning person.
Well, there you go. I like that. I like that. What's the worst piece of advice you ever received?
The worst piece of advice I've ever received. Oh my God. Let's go. And I'm thinking about this. Hold on. The worst piece of advice I've ever received.
We can come back. I don't want you to be scared.
I'm just trying to think. Okay, let's come back to that one.
Okay. I'll remember. What's your hidden talent?
I can sing a little bit.
A little bit. You were on the praise team. Unless your praise team wasn't okay. What's your dream vacation spot?
Italy.
Yes, Italy. I like that. I like it. What part? Do you know?
I don't know yet. I just know
That's cool.
go to Italy.
What's the best gift you ever received?
The best gift I ever received. My husband bought me these shoes that I was not expecting, and it was like, yeah, they're like
Use it good, Abby.
cute
Use it good.
Adidas shoes. I love them. They're so comfortable.
Nice. Nice. Name one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
Oh, don't go that way. Protect Your Purpose, my book.
Yes, do that. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Keep showing up. Your purpose is not just for you.
I love it. Okay, we're going back. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Probably that I needed to marry my child's father. That might have been the worst advice, but I didn't do it, so I didn't take it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you saw it for what it was. Y'all got a baby together. You need to get married.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because, like, I've gotten some bad advice. I was like, what's the worst advice I've gotten? I don't know.
You sound like a wise one. And I think you can discern the good from the bad. So thank you, God, for that gift. Thank you so much for playing Tea Time. It was lovely to get to know your answers, seeing how you tick when you're a little bit stressed out, trying to figure things out. I want you to have a little bit more confidence in your hidden talent because you said you were on the praise team. And all I'm saying is, not everybody can be on the praise team. Praise team and choir, there's two different things. So
Think that, like, I love karaoke, but I don't sing like I used to sing all the time. So that's why, like, most people don't know that about me.
yeah, I get that. My voice is changing immensely, and I cannot do the things that I used to do. So, and I thank God for Tavia because she's making me sing more, and she really likes to sing. So I'm able to like teach her different notes. So she's kind of pulling it back out of me. But you know what they say: if you don't use it, you
Yeah,
lose it. It's real.
that is real.
It is really real. All right. Well, Juanita, we are winding down, and I'm kind of sad, but we came to do what we did. And so we're going to move on. But before we go, I do want to ask if you have any lasting, encouraging words for our listeners, whether they be for moms, whether they be for dads, or anybody who's really caregiving. Do you have inspirational words or encouragement for our parents?
I would just say to trust God again, right? I think that that's so important, and I've had to circle back around to that a lot in my life. But trust God again. Like, He knew who you were, He knew who you would be before you even got here. He definitely has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and He wants that for you, but He also wants that for your children as well. So don't just trust Him for your life; trust Him with their life as well.
Like that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
What is next for you, and how can listeners connect with you after today's episode?
Yeah, so we are currently preparing for our Moments for Moms conference in March 2026. So it's going to be in Williamsburg, Virginia. So
Awesome.
just continuing to build in the Moments for Moms community, still writing more books, still building the podcast, and just seeing where God is going to lead me from there
That's
and,
beautiful.
and connect with me. So you can connect with me on Instagram. So it's underscore Juanita Nicole underscore. And then on Facebook, I'm Juanita Nicole Woodson. If you're interested in joining the Moments for Moms community, you can follow us on Instagram. It's at M4M Legacy Unlocked. And then on Facebook, we are Moments for Moms Legacy Unlocked.
Awesome. I'm just making sure I write it down so that I can share and follow and all that jazz because we also want to be a part of the community. So, I want to thank you so much for coming on and so elegantly sharing your personal parenting journey. I love the fact that you are like the great communicator in writing and publishing on podcast. You out here doing everything that I live to do, but my full-time job is holding me back right now. So yes, thank you so much for sharing just how you have gone through the storm, how you got out, how you saw the hope at the end of the tunnel, and now you are able to look back and say, no, come on through, y'all. There is hope over here, and we're going to push you to come to the other side. I love whenever, mothers can really pick up as they climb. That is one of my favorite things to do, and is one of my favorite things to see when other people use what they have and what they've learned through the storm to bring people out of theirs. So thank you so much for sharing that. Listeners, if you have to pause and restart and listen again to hear some of the hope that Juanita has given to us, please do. I don't mind you adding another download to the numbers. But we have 3 questions that I always ask every mom, and I love to just kind of compare the answers. So I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions and see what you have to say. So, Juanita, is parenting hard?
Yes.
Without hesitation, she said yes. But are they still standing?
Yes, they are.
They are. And they standing with their arms up high, lifted. And I love it. So, what do you proudly want to tell our guests today?
Yes, this mama is nailing it.
Nailing it. And she said it so calm, cool, and collected, y'all. I know you heard her. If you like this episode and you want to share more personal parenting journeys like Juanita's, please subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Also, remember that you too can be a guest on the podcast by completing a guest application. The link is in the description below. We always welcome your questions, your comments, and your ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is you do. Smooches, y'all. Bye.
You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast.